It has been the longest off-season of SRA. The rust has been wiped off and the cars are revved up and ready to go. Welcome to SRA.
We're off and away for SRA.
Good evening, race fans. I'm Austin, your host for tonight, as we are joined by our wonderful co-host, John Donahue.
Oh yes, I'm back.
How was the travels?
It was pretty good. Had a nice vacation. Got away from the 107 to 109 degree heat and went to where it was 75. It was very nice.
Speaking of weather, it is a nice sunny day here at Donington Park, which is a little strange for the British weather. But I also know some of these drivers have been commenting in the D3 chat about the weather they are dealing with. Some of these people wishing they had some AC to help them out, as it is a little temperate in their areas.
That does not surprise me at this time of the year.
Does not surprise me either. But let's get right into the track map, so that way we can see where drivers are really going to have challenges and or passing opportunities. We are here at Donington Park, like I said, in Leicestershire, England. It is 4.02 kilometers or 2.498 miles, 12 turns. Sector 1 in the game is really only turns 1 and 2, and then Sector 2 goes on forever through turn, is that 9? Yeah, turn 9/8. But really only going to see a couple overtaking opportunities if you get a nice run out of turn 8 down that. Welcome back, everybody. I apologize. My internet decided to go down and restart in the middle of everything. Should know better, obviously. It's a big night for everybody. But we are back, and I know these drivers are in the middle of their qualifying, so I've missed a lot, unfortunately.
You have. So I'll give you a quick rundown really quick. The podium for silver, it was Loren from Krochik and Johnny Air. They made up our 1, 2, and 3 position for silver. Currently, Michael Jeffries leading gold. He is coming across the line. In a couple corners, he should put himself up into second overall. P2 for gold is going to be, my mouse just stopped working. There we go. Is going to be Sircone. He's down in 7th place overall. And the third is Fredrickson down in 8th.
All right, well, I do have the race back up. again, I apologize. ISP decided to really just not play nice today. But we are back, and we are seeing Jeffries crossing the line now up 2/10, moves him up into P2. The coach being
look at that.
super fast. I remember the practice race. He put basically the first challenge in the practice race and got about 3/4 of the way there.
Wow, impressive.
So, one thing I do want to say, shout out to the coach as we are watching him. Does a lot for our league. He did pick Johnny Air as our silver winner tonight, so Johnny's hitting P3 at the moment for silver, and then gold he picked Corey Isra. Tricone, yes, Tricone. I'm flustered right now. Just a little bit, but we are back. Yes, Corey Chacon. He did pick Corey to take gold, who is currently in front of the coach, and I believe you are watching.
I am.
Go down. Ethan Marvin slinging it through the chicane there, actually gaining some time, but it looks like they ended up touching some grass, so they're starting to lose some time. Still up about a 10th, but we'll see how this exit goes. The hairpin about 1/10 still sitting there. And speed down in 16th, up 3/10. I'll go to speed here in a second once we see Ethan cross the line. No real major improvements. Speed coming across 3/10 up, moving him into P10. Lee, second hairpin, sitting 4/10 up. And McLaren is strong around here, that's for sure. That middle sector, it loves those downforce corners. Moves himself up to P12. Let's see.
Lloyd came across the line up 4/10. He moved himself to P15.
Go. Frederickson hovering about a 10th right now. They'll move him up maybe a position or two. P6, there we go. Coach putting in the work. Hot on the tail, getting some slipstream actually down this back straight from Corey. Up a full 10th. See if he can sling it through the chicane. Chicane's where you can gain a lot of time if you cut everything right. It's a very tough spot too, because if you on exit, you'll start bouncing. So you're unsettling the car, so you're not feeling quite comfortable getting out of it. But coach, unfortunately, in this hairpin, losing all the progress that he made through sector 1 and 2, and has backed off so he can get another solid lap. But there is a car coming right behind him that is going to be tough. That's Marvin. Marvin down 5/10. I wonder if Marvin backed out a little bit too.
I'm on board with Martin right now, coming through the final corner right now, up about a 1/10 and a half. Oh, went a little bit wide, lost all of it, but he gained a lot on the exit, over 2/10 now coming across the line. That'll move him up from P20 to 16.
Martin putting in the work. Lee moving up to P7. Looks like Corey is calling it. I saw him yellow, now he's in the pits. Marvin. I'll ride on board with Marvin here just so you guys can see just how quick some of the oh, I gave Marvin the curse. I'm sorry, Marvin. We'll go with Nate, who is just right behind him. And let's see, slinging it across that curbing there. You gotta be careful. That can give you a flat tire. Well, not really flat tire, but pressure loss. And then you get to see this chicane in the braking zone, and really that nice dip that's in there. As there's a car backwards on track, that's gonna lose Nate all of the progress that they had made. Oh no, I really actually speed.
I think it may have been, but it actually confused Martin a little bit. He got a little bit too much of the exit there of that chicane, and then he's calling it a day off the track right now.
I do not blame them.
Jeffries, the coach, the GOAT, just passed the line, only able to increase about 5/100ths of a second. It's going to keep him P2, and Loren looks like he might take pole unless Frederickson can continue pulling this amazing time he's got right now. And as soon as I said it, It all went away.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Fredrickson here getting in that final corner, really cranking on that wheel, coming up to the line, 2/10 up, moves him P3. There we go. Laren, your pole sitter. And then we got Jeffries, Fredrickson, Krochek, Lee for your top 5. But let me get everything set back up. I'm going to get ready for the grid walk actually here.
Meanwhile, I'm gonna go set up Le Doug.
Le Doug. Let's go. And then while the drivers are going to be going on their formation lap after the grid walk, I will go through the standings as I didn't get a great opportunity
Get
to
a
do
chance
so.
to do it.
Yes.
Uh-oh, that's not what I meant to do.
Great liveries. I might have some liveries missing. I did sync earlier today, so but it could still be post error. Have to talk. Oh, we got Logan in chat. Of course, Logan's not racing. I'm gonna give him some crap. Logan, we love you though.
How dare you, Logan?
But fantastic liveries that are fitting the theme this season, and just again, as always, some very creative spirits that we have here in SRA that get to flex their creativity at the beginning of the season. Get to see the wonderful liveries go around and around and around for at least 8 races. Something that Martin actually pointed out, there are no Porsches on this grid. It's all McLarens,
Non-Porsche.
Lamborghinis, some Ferraris, 2 Mercedes, and a couple Beamers as well. So we have that. I'm going to get to the standings actually right now. So quickly hopping over, actually get the team series, the drivers. All right, first let's go. Nico Suave, our silver driver, actually sitting on P1 with Eric Laren right behind at 152, only 24 points behind. Then we get our first gold driver, Andre Lloyd with 148, then Nate Roger, and then followed by Doug Lee rounding out your top 5. Get to the second page so you get to see everybody that's in. Well, and then we'll get to our drivers that are in the team series as well. So coming up, P1 is the ZDR boys, Blackbird with Nate Roger and Turner Johnson sitting at 260. Then you have ZDR boys Raptor of Michael Lee and Nico Suave. So ZDR having a really good season so far in these first couple races, leading the pack for team series and driver series. And then you have Madhouse right behind them with Andre Lloyd and Rogero Santos. And then Madhouse quickly following them up as well. They have Ryan Farrell and Eric Laren. And in P5, Human Nature of Michael Jeffries and Neil Sutherland. So, gonna be an exciting race here. I know I didn't get to talk about it too much. We kind of just jumped right into everything. But as I was saying though, before I got cut off rudely by my internet, gonna see probably the hairpins being the biggest overtaking opportunities along with turn 1. So that'll probably be where we're going to see a lot more of the action. If you are daring getting out of turn 8 onto the back straight here, if you can pull side by side and then get ahead before the braking zone chicane, that really helps out, because if you get to the chicane, it's really a one line corner, so it'll be a little rough. We are looking for a lot of action here tonight, especially in Sector 3. we are getting ready to go 2x2. John, it looks like you have They Lay Doug set up.
That I do. They Doug is set up completely. Right here in between turns 1 and 2. Got a nice view of this when they come sweeping through.
Yeah, turn 1, it's really weird because you really get to abuse the pit lane exit when there's nobody there, just because you have to do that to maximize your speed through that corner. But we'll have to see when drivers come out of pit lane what's going to happen. But these drivers are rounding the corner now and are on to the main straight. Looking like Laren getting the nice comfortable lead at the moment. Let's see if they get away.
Green line, give it all you got.
Jeffrey's coming up. Jeffrey's actually got a good start. Is already ahead half car length. His outside actually is a lot better for traction zone, since that is a nice spot that I learned past couple races. But Laren absolutely flying out of that turn and puts Coach P2 and is now starting to pull away. Hopefully gonna keep that. Procheck gaining a spot there. Corey and Speed gaining a spot. Johnny Air losing out a little bit there. Down the grid a little bit. Cespedes and Riggs gaining a spot. Roger dropping back. Also looking like he's in a fight there with Santos, I believe that is. Side by side.
Clean, though.
Yeah, so far.
That was...
Ooh, as we say that, we see an accident literally happen right in front of our eyes. Riggs going across the track, getting pinballed around.
Let me take a look at what happened here as well. I'm going to be on board with Cespedes in this.
Yeah, you're going to see all the carnage that happened right there. It just was unfortunate. Just a little bit of a maybe ambitious move there. Or somebody closing
Cespedes and Lloyd together, Riggs and then another Ferrari came together, and then Cespedes was sitting in the middle of the road, unfortunately nowhere to go for a lot of cars behind. So it ended up being about, I'd say 7 or 8 cars involved in that. Some got off a lot easier than others, but unfortunately for them, they're down at the back now.
Pit lane is open for those drivers. You can kind of see roughly on track where that incident did happen, just because there is a nice little gap now between some of the front runners. Let's see, where's that gap probably at? It looks like that is roughly around P19, the 172, or that 142. I can't tell.
I'm on board now with Roger and Santos, with Roger as he hunts down Santos. One of the ZDR boys.
Well, I'm on with the coach, looking back, seeing if Procheck is going to make any moves here into the hairpins. He is close, but not close enough, I would say, to make a daring move. It's going to be having to be really brave on the brakes, but Beamer versus McLaren on brakes, I'm going to give that to the BMW every single day, but the McLaren will probably have a little bit of a better exit actually out of the corner. It just seems to get bogged down a little bit by the TC. I never really found a good spot for me with it, but that TC really slows down. But top 3 right now, it's starting to pull away from Lee, who's sitting P4. Let's go a little further back.
Roger and Santos are about to have some problems because they've got Super Dave, Garcia, Spaghetti, and Almeida on their behinds now as well.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see what happens. Like I said, it is kind of a follow the train through a lot of this track, kind of like Zandvoort, but probably has a little bit more overtaking opportunities than Zandvoort. Just through some of these heavy braking zones. We'll have to kind of wait and see as time goes on. It is a long race, and Donington not having runoff areas really can exaggerate a simple mistake. for a lot of these drivers. I know I felt that a couple times during the race. You just step out of line, touch the grass, and all of a sudden the car that you were looking back that's a second is now catching you into the braking zone. Looking at your fight, it looks pretty close between Santos, Roger, and Super Dave right there. It looks like somebody's going side by side, actually. What's going on there?
Yep, that would be Roger still side by side with Santos as we come into the final corner here. But that inside line is going to favor Santos greatly. Super Dave trying to get up inside to try and get it past Roger. Not able to do it though, so they all slot right back in one another, or right back behind one another.
And no real daring moves being made there in the turn one though. So once it comes around, we'll have to keep an eye on it. I'm actually going to jump up to the front. It looks like Jeffries is hot on the tail here of Laren. 3/10 and catching, putting a lot of pressure on the leader at the moment. We'll see if any passes are going to be made as they are getting into that high overtaking opportunity chances here with that chicane coming up. All about who gets the better exit here for the straight. Jeffries looks like he is hot on the tail there. Unfortunately, not able to make a move, too far back and not daring enough on the chicane. Don't blame him. And then we are going to look to see here if he's going to make a move into the hairpin. Nope, not close enough, but does give a peek out. Laren goes a bit wide, but being a bit wide isn't bad on that turn as that better traction is on the outside and the coach has to shallow up his corner, delaying the acceleration. So it's kind of putting the car in the right spot here for Laren, not allowing the coach to get through. I see your fight is actually heating up as well as we're in that same area.
Yep, and I think Roger learned from her mistake this time. Oh, maybe not. Left the door open for Super Dave. Super Dave going to put his nose in. Let's see if he can do it. Nope, gets a little bit swirly there. And then it's going to slot right back in, right behind Roger again for the third, I think, lap this time. But these three got a nice little train going. Santos has about a 6-second gap up to the person ahead of him. And then behind Super Dave, there's a 1.5-second gap down to Garcia. A 1-second gap.
Well, I did see somebody within the top 10 already make their pit. That would be Neil Sutherland making their pit very early here. And we'll see if they're going to come out in traffic. Where are they? It does not look like they're in traffic. They have clean air, so that allows them to really push. But I'm going to jump back to P1 fight as we are in the same spot that we were talking about. This track is nice just because of how quick it is. It seems like it's constant pressure. As you see, main screen, we have a Madhouse car.
Here we go. And Santos and Roger just swapped positions. Roger was a little bit later on the brakes coming into the chicane, so Santos lost that spot and now has to defend from Super Dave.
Yeah, I saw that happening. I was making a comment actually that both the pip and the main screen were watching the rear wing of Madhouse cars.
Oh, sorry. I kind of interrupted you. My bad.
It was two different ones, but no, your fight actually had a pass. My fight's kind of petered out for a little bit. But
there you go.
Going to a different fight, Fredrickson, you kind of heard that on the onboard. Touching the grass a little bit, which has allowed Corey to try to make a move, but really with the nature of these high-speed corners, not able to. But he is really up there, right on that diffuser, just making sure to be a menace in the mirrors. If you remember from the school, Doug being a menace society within reason, flashing into the braking zone. So we'll see if that's going to help him out, if he learned anything from Doug. But looks like Corey has fallen back a little bit here. We'll see if there's any move that they're going to anticipate making here into the hairpin. Corey 0.6 back, a little too far back, but it's a nice run. I see a yellow flag. I think that's GB3 pulling a yellow. Oh, let's see what's,
take a look at that one.
See what's going on here, buddy. Oh, looks like they lost the car and there's a heavy hit into the wall. The hood is a flapping, it looks like, so that's a That's a rough one to see. You have to limp that one back home, as it looks like it's in the middle of turn. Let me double check my turn numbers here. That would be turn 4, the old hairpin. Ortiz getting by right there pretty easily. I'm gonna hop back on with the coach. Coach is putting on some pressure here. What are you seeing in your fight? I know we're keeping an eye on a lot of these fights at the moment.
Oh, sorry. Still on board with Super Day right now, trying to chase down Santos and Roger. Santos has closed the gap back up to Roger. After the overtake, he's about 1.5 seconds down. Now he's about 0.6. But we still got a nice battle forming here. I'll keep you updated if anything changes.
Jeffrey's trying to pull a move into the chicane. Gets a heavy cut there. That might be a corner cut. Doesn't get the move done, but that is starting to invite Krochek into this fight the more that these two are fighting. But Jeffrey's not really making a move into these hairpins. I know that Beamer loves to be heavy on the brakes. A little later, the McLaren, not great on the brakes, but the exit and mid-corner speed of the McLaren is probably giving it the advantage here that it needs, as that BMW is a chunky boy.
I've driven it. It is definitely chunky.
It's tough to get around.
It's
for
one
sure.
of those. It's one of those cars where your braking point in other cars, because the nose is so long, is just actually too early in the BMW sometimes. So like, I normally drive the Porsche, and where I would brake in the Porsche, that will usually end up with you being too slow when you go through the corner, because you're just so long in the car.
Yes, and you're really fighting the car sometimes to get it to go around. Just because.
You really do.
I mean, but if you can make it smooth, you can make that car smooth as butter, and it's fantastic. I remember Coda was that way for me. Like, all of a sudden, just unlocked pace. That car was flinging around corners. Marvin having a yellow flag. What's going on here? What happened? Oh boy, it looks like it's towards the end here of turn 7, roughly. Gets on the curb, unsettles the car, and touches the grass. That curb can do that.
Thank goodness! I'm sorry. We got a yellow flag for Anderson in the pit. I'm sorry, that reaction, that was just what happened to come out of my mouth. But he was trying to go down the inside of Suave, and hit the brakes too late, had to avoid a couple blue flags that were ahead, and then ended up overshooting everyone just barely, and ending up in the grass. So did not gain any positions or anything like that, but now he's got to worry about Roger Santos and Super Dave, who are closing in fast after that.
Well, I'm back on board with Coach, who looks like he's just kind of something we heard last week. He's fast in all the wrong areas, catching all the way up to the diffuser of Laren here, but Laren in this last sector with the hairpins and the chicane is pulling the gap out just a little bit, because like we were talking about, that Laren probably has a little better exit speed on these corners, and Jeffrey's trying again to stick his nose out going into the chicane to really make Laren think about what's happening, putting that mental pressure on. I see Marvin actually has a stop-go 30.
Oh no.
So from a race that has gone bad to worse for Marvin, it looks like I see Marvin down in P25, unfortunately. But Coach just struggling to really get the move done. Like we heard last week, again, just being one of those cars that's fast in all the wrong areas.
Meanwhile, right here at the end, we had Santos and Roger trying to go for a little bit of a battle through the last corner. Nothing ends up happening. Super Dave is actually kind of falling off this fight a little bit. Now over 1 second behind Santos.
You trailed off there, John. What happened?
Sorry, I'm not sure actually. But Super Dave has actually fallen off the pace of this fight between Santos and Roger. Now 1.6 seconds behind.
We had I saw Coach getting a little bit of a slide there in that middle sector and drop back. We'll see if Coach can fight back, but I'm going to hop off this fight and pay attention as I see Lloyd making a potential move here. Lloyd was side by side. Looks like Lloyd was able to get the move done, so I must have missed that or just got to it right as it was happening. But we'll see if Felipe here, I think that is Felipe. Yeah, Felipe behind will try to make anything happen, considering that they are coming up to the cane and hairpins. A lot of the grid electing to stay out so far in the first 15 minutes that we've seen here.
Looks like it, yeah.
Looks like P23 to P30, 31 have all pit. So a lot of people electing to stay out a little longer, as I see Marvin is in the pits probably to clear that stop go. A lot of the fights they were a lot of fights early on, trying to jockey for position since, oh my gosh, that's close. As we saw Felipe coming right next to a car coming out of the pits, I believe. Who would that be? Would that be Marvin? That is Marvin coming out of the pits. But just some people spreading out. Maybe that incident on lap 1 really hindered a lot of people to fight, so it opened up a lot more gaps within the group. But the top 3 still fighting pretty heavily, and then you got 4, 5, and 6 fighting in their own little battle. P8 and 9 fighting, P11 and 12 fighting, and then 13 and 14 fighting.
13.
I believe you're
I'm currently on board with.
Yep.
I'm on board with Garcia right now on their bumper, chasing down Super Dave. And I was wondering why Super Dave had fallen off the pace, and then I got my answer when I scrolled down the timing list a little bit earlier, and I'm like, oh, that's why. It's because he's got Garcia right on him.
Yeah, it's tough being that middle car in a 3-car fight, just because, yes, you are looking to be in the mirrors of the car in front and just be a menace, but also having to play a little bit defensive on your own. You can't get too overzealous, because if you do, you will start to lose out, and that car behind can be a little more opportunistic in these fights. So just playing the patient game sometimes in that third car of a 3-car fight pays dividends later on.
Yeah, so right now it doesn't seem to be too close a fight. There's a lot of fights up and down the grid, but everyone's still pretty evenly spaced out, so it's kind of hard to see any overtaking attempts.
Yeah,
and there goes Garcia getting a little bit slidey out of the exit there.
Yeah, that just is a little bit of the nature of the track. It is a fun track to race at, especially when following. You're really just playing a lot of the mental games for a lot of this race with drivers. Occupy the mirrors, dip, dive, duck, dodge, patches a hula anyway. But you're really just trying to occupy the mirrors, make them take their eyes off the road as much as possible and force an error. That's kind of the game plan for a lot of the drivers, I feel like, to get a nice solid move done here. Just everybody's so far.
You also, when you run into that, you sometimes run into the opposite issue of you try to make the other person make a mistake, and in doing that, you accidentally make yourself make a mistake. I haven't done that.
Yes, that is the unfortunate part. Sometimes, you're like, all right, if I brake 2 meters later, I'll catch him maybe like half a tenth, or not half a tenth, 100th, or things like that. But then you overshoot it, you outbrake yourself, and you're missing the corner and a half out. You gotta be not overly cautious, but reel back the aggression a little bit. It seems like, especially at a track like Donington, where, like we said if you make an error, you're going to touch the grass and your issues are going to start compounding because you're going to slow down so much.
Exactly.
I think you're on board with this one as you're in the cockpit of Santos, I believe, right on Roger. I'm just going to get the overhead view of this one. That way we can kind of see what's going on between the two drivers jockeying for position while you see onboard of Santos to just kind of get a feel of what the driver's seeing and how far back they are from the other driver in front, and really get to see the sense of the issues that the drivers may see following a car so closely. You're gonna have issues seeing your apex, maybe your braking marker gets hidden by their car and all of a sudden it catches you out of surprise. So really trying to get a feel for the track during your hot lapping to look for not only your braking marker but things around it, so you get a feel where you are on track and really help you. Same with turning in points, because I know the corner that I just went through is a little blind since it is an uphill section, so you're kind of guessing at where to turn in when you're following another car. So that's all other thing you got to take into consideration as the attacking car is, all right, I not only need to be on top of my game 100% and be a menace in their mirrors, I need to also make sure I'm hitting all of my braking markers and turning in markers at the same time. And that can change on the fly very rapidly if you're making a move to the inside, outside, you know, things like that will have variables within your overtaking opportunities. Jump a little farther back, you see Almeida.
A nice battle there at Almeida, yeah. There was also a nice one. I'm going to move back to Sutherland right now, also in a big booty Beamer, facing up against Gill right now in the Battlefield 2018.
And if you remember, Sutherland was in that top 10 actually, and has pit, so now he's starting to hit traffic. So this might be where the gamble doesn't pay off. You are stuck in traffic, you're losing time, you're saying to yourself, I'm faster, I need to get through, and you could overstep and make a mistake yourself. I'm gonna keep an eye on the... Go ahead.
Sorry, it's always that amazing, oh so amazing choice that you've got to make on the fly when you're doing 200 plus miles an hour getting around the tracks of, all right, do I go in now and risk coming out in cars that I'm faster than but they have no like no intention of giving it over, or do they need to give me the spot, or do I just stay what I'm doing and hope for the best?
That was
and
a
Sutherland
brave
actually
move.
able to get, and Sutherland was actually very good. I'm gonna go watch the replay of that because that was such a good move. Apparently I do not have Sutherland. But going into the chicane here, gets late on the brakes, kind of cover off that inside, and then boom, make that move. Very, very nice. Very nice. Very textbook. Good move right there by Sutherland.
Yeah.
Now going to be chasing down Ortigan, who is about 2 seconds up ahead.
Like we said, when I saw that, that is a very brave move, and you're playing chicken basically with the other car. Just because it's a one line, but someone that is probably going to be doing the same thing, playing a little chicken here. Doug Lee, it looks like Doug was basically pushing Krochek through turn 8. That's how close he was on that diffuser.
Wow.
Let's see if Doug is going to make any move here into the last two corners. It is a McLaren, McLaren on McLaren fight here, so no true advantage for either car. It's not, that goes back down to driver skill. So we'll see who is going to place their car, but Doug also has to pay attention to his mirrors. Corey is right there, as you can see, just being a car to occupy the mirrors, the mirrors of your car. But Corey also has Fredrickson right behind him, who is right there, just waiting for that opportunity to make the move. So nice little 4-car battle here for that last podium spot at the moment. This race has gone by quickly so far. We have 35 minutes left of the race.
It has, and you know what that means? It means it's time for this week's Under the Hood.
Ooh, always looking forward to Under the Hood.
Oh yeah, this week's Under the Hood, our subject, if you want to call it a subject, I guess, but the person who I'm going to be doing, our personality for Under the Hood is going to be the one, the only Martin Riggs, who's down in P28 right now, who's involved in that lap 1 incident. But I asked him a couple of questions. I asked him what he likes to do to relax after a long day, and if he has $1 million, what kind of car is he going to buy? He said for his favorite thing to do after relaxing is there's nothing really better than chilling on the couch watching a good show or a movie. He's currently going through Andor on Disney Plus, What We Do in the Shadows, I don't know what that is, and Harley Quinn over on HBO Max, which is Max now. I gotta say, Harley Quinn, very good show. I love that show. It's very funny. Andor, I haven't watched it yet, but for the second question I asked him, what car he would buy with $1 million, that would be the secret Porsche. He says just whichever version he can get for $1 million. So that's pretty much, I think, the basic one.
Yeah.
But yeah, always fun to learn a little more information about the people that race here in D3. So there we go.
You can't forget that this man also failed at making a ready for winning one of the early renditions of SRA Fantasy.
That's true, he did. He used, what was it, the soda bread or something, and it just kind of like dribbled through the bottom.
Oh, it did not go well, as it looks like I had my classic disconnection.
Oh, lovely. It doesn't stop. It never stops.
It's been a night, folks, and I apologize. It's oh. It's gonna be nice when it's over.
I'm on board with Almeida right now, who's fighting and chasing down Garcia. However, nothing's to be happening there, and nope, I'm gonna stay here. That battle that I was gonna switch to kind of fizzled out.
Oh, well, I am back. Get OBS back onto the race. Oh. I can only sit here and laugh at what's going on.
It always happens. Did you? Okay, here's the real question. Did anything happen last week at all?
No, it's you.
See, it's like when we're together that it's just like, no, nothing's gonna work.
Yep, it is. I'm blaming John Donahue for my connection issues.
Hear that, Jess? I need to be fired, apparently.
I don't know. Maybe just selectively replaced. I kid though. I love commentating with you.
Good. I was hurt. I want to move on board with Andy Speed right now, hunting down Johnny Air. Johnny Air coming through that corner, getting a little bit slidey. That might help Speed as we come down into the chicane right now. I want to see if we get a ballsy move here. Answer that seems to be no.
I'm on the wing of Johnny Air, so we get to see.
Oh, really slidey coming out the exit of the chicane.
We get to see what John sees in his mirrors. I see 2 yellow flags. What happened here? Besides Gil, I believe it is, car 136 on the exit of turn 4. The old hairpin getting a little loose, sliding across the grass and onto the racing line. But back to the fight that you're watching. I'm gonna hop on board with Maida, who is on the tail of a car, but I don't see the car. There's the car. I'm gonna actually hop off. Ooh, boy, what is... Looks like my internet's issue at the moment.
See, it's not me. But also, are we surprised that your internet's the issue? It already has been for most of the day.
True, you're not wrong. It has been a little rough. Looks like being on cameras, I've fixed it. So we are good now. I apologize for that stuttering. It's a little jarring being a viewer and seeing that, but now we are back. And we are off and away for SRA.
There it is. You didn't. I don't think you said it at the beginning. So
I did not, unfortunately, but we are. I'm watching Almeida. That's a move to try, but I don't think you're gonna have much success going around the outside of turn 8 there. That inside line just kind of a bit more strong, especially if you're in a higher downforce setup. Almeida trying to make a move, peeking the nose of the car out into the chicane. Nothing really working. They're going to make anything into the hairpins. Oh, a little late on the brakes, and they kind of compromise their own corner, having to go straight on rather than be able to start turning so they don't hit the back of the car in front of them. It's like Anderson's in the pits at the moment, so that's another person. Ooh, Almeida has a spin out of the last corner and just says, well, I'm already facing the pit lane. I'm going into the pits.
I mean, perfect time, I guess.
True, and oh no.
You probably wanted to enter differently.
Car 136, I believe it's Gil, G-I-L, having a drive-through at the moment.
Oh no.
First name, Alejandro. I will say your first name as I probably will end up butchering your last name and I apologize. But I'm going back to the fight that I was looking at. Doug Lee. Ooh. I hop on board. Doug has a little bit of a slide there out of the hairpin, which makes him fall back. And Corey having a move, trying to put the pressure on Doug, and then Doug is trying to put the pressure on Krocek. So this is a highly contested fight between the three of these cars. Who is going to be the one that makes the error? And then let's see, we got Pat, who I've neglected a little bit tonight, unfortunately, and I apologize, chat. DC Storm in chat, rooting on Suave, I believe. Yep, there it is. Bring it home for my fantasy team. The little Dan Cran right there. Always looking at the optics right now. But.
Suave is in P9 right now. I believe that makes him fourth in class. So.
Yes, but we don't break it out by class. We just break it out by finishing position on track.
Sure. P9.
Well, another gaggle of cars that are fighting right now is P20 through P19 through P22, but I believe one of them is about to pull back out to get their drive-through cleared out. Alejandro right there pulling out. So now it is 19 through 20. Having a little bit, actually P18 through 20. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. A little update on the leaders. Laren and Jeffries have pulled away from Krocek due to the fight that is between Krocek, Lee, and Corey, with Fredrickson now into that fight. So really, these two are fighting for the win and P2, whereas Krocek, Lee, Corey, and Frederick are now all fighting for the last podium spot for the night. But pretty clean efforts from Laren and Jeffries. No one's really stepping out of line here. Looks like Nate Rogers going to the pits. There's another person within the top 10 going in. I see Lee having a yellow flag. Oh no, that's unfortunate considering that Lee was in that fight for P3. What happened here? Going up the hill from P5, turn 5 into turn, I believe that's 6 or 7, no 7. Gets the braking a little wrong. Car steps out on him and is
Lee
now
ended up P9.
Yes, that's unfortunate. Krocek actually taking the fastest lap of the race right now. I don't know when he did that. Just noted that. Jeffrey's trying to make a move. Oh boy.
Here we go. Let me make an interruption really quick. Speed into the chicane to the very move late on the brakes in that McLaren against the Ferrari. Took the unconventional line but made it work.
Yeah.
And Suave is about to do the same to Ayers, so Dan, get excited.
Well, Jeffrey's right there. Diving down the inside of the first hairpin there, turn 11, getting the move done, and actually getting the speed down into the last corner and holding it now. So now Jeffries, it's looking like Jeffries' race to lose at the moment if he can start pulling away, especially through this high speed section. Like we said earlier, Jeffries seemed to be faster through this section than Laren, so he's always catching the diffuser and trying to make that move. Pulled out 2/10 at the moment. Laren dropping back, not quickly, but a couple tenths here and there through that sector. So, like we said, Coach just absolutely strong through that quick section with a high downforce, maybe running a little bit higher downforce than that McLaren. Already pulling out about a second gap.
Meanwhile, down in the pit, we see Doug Lee and Johnny Air going side by side. This is where Johnny Air got overtaken on the inside last time around. Let's see if he can turn it into keeping his position this time. Johnny Air gonna break late. Oh, they're coming together just a little bit there. Johnny Air keeping the position, forcing Doug Lee a little bit wide there on the exit. But still nice, respectful driving between the two. But Doug Lee does now have the inside line coming into this first hairpin, and he will use it, blocking Johnny Air out, but nope, there we go. Slotting back into line is Johnny Air, and Doug Lee takes the position up to P8, Johnny Air down to P9, has unfortunately lost 3 spots in the last lap.
Corey in the pits, as someone that was fighting for the podium right there in the pits right now, about halfway through. We'll see if they get out into clean air. You can keep an eye on them when they're coming out, and we'll see what happens. Looks like they're probably going to get into a train. Let's see. I'm actually going to hop on board with Corey. Yes, pulls out right in front of a car. I believe that would be... is that Secom? Or Secom?
Yep, he definitely does, because Secom is right behind Corey Secom.
That's unfortunate for Justin right there. But I know Corey's saying, all right, at least I have clean air in front of me. I can push. But we'll quickly come up to the Super Dave and Garcia fight. That is only 2.5 seconds ahead of him. Coach already pulling a 2.5 lead on Laren. Krocek sitting 5.8 back. Frederick 1.6 back from Krocek. And then Speed, actually 6 seconds back, but has Suave hot on his diffuser right there. So Speed will have to think about Nico for a little bit instead of, while trying to also catch up to Fredrickson. Any other spicy fights going on right now? I'm not seeing a lot, but we'll see if...
Down in P19, Williams versus Anderson. About a half a second gap coming through the chicane right now. Williams had a really great exit. It's going to close up that gap quite well on Anderson coming into the first here.
Oh, they
Both
go
of
wide.
them go wide, actually.
Yeah, I see that.
You know, it's that really awkward moment of when you're looking at the car ahead of you. You know you don't want to follow them, but you just follow them instinctively anyway, even if it ends up off the track.
Yeah.
I've done that too many times.
That's one of those things like we talked about earlier. You're just so focused on the car in front that you miss your braking spot just because of your going into the corner a little blind. You don't get to see them hit the right spot, and you take yours back a couple meters from where they're braking. Apparently both of them were wrong just by a couple meters because they washed out pretty wide there on that corner.
Yeah, they did.
Well, Doug Lee actually fighting back here. Remember, was in the fight there for P3, is now in this fight that's fighting for P5 at the moment. So thankfully, Doug didn't lose a whole lot of time and a whole lot of position. Still a strong finish if you finish in the top 10. But still probably banging his hands on the steering wheel like, that was such a mistake, and I know I've done that in a little frustration. It makes me drive a little angry, but Doug looks like he's kept a calm, collected head at the moment, which is what you need in times like this.
There's a yellow flag with Almeida. Let me go back 15 seconds and take a look at what happened. It looks like Farrell might be involved in this as well. Coming into that first hairpin, Farrell late on the brakes, does not stop in time, just taps the back end of Almeida. Riggs, fortunately, able to miss that. I think that was Riggs there in that Mercedes. But Almeida and Farrell getting caught up in the 2 car incident. Both able to continue on their way though. Doesn't look as if they've lost any spots. Nope, actually, never mind. Spaghetti
Well, Doug and Nico in a fight now, which is about speed to get away a little bit. Doug just throwing his car out a little bit, going into the chicane, which makes Nico go a little defensive. So it compromises both their lines really with that chicane. Doug unable to really make anything happen in the hairpins, not close enough to feel like he can make that dive bomb and get the scuba gear on. They're just following each other again for another lap. See if they can make a move. Also something I noticed as I saw in camera, there's one thing about this track, but I have a bone to pick. As I move over to Corey having a fight right now. This track has that airplane that flies in like every other lap. Now I don't mind it, but as a driver, seeing the shadow will distract you. I see Ethan Marvin having a yellow flag. What's happening there?
Oh, he's off, I believe, at the last corner.
Yeah, it looked like that.
Yes, he is. Exit the last corner.
You know, you have on board with a car that was happening there to go by there.
Yes, I was, and Marvin just decided to take that into the pits, get a pit.
Yeah,
maybe some damage.
Maybe suspension damage would really be kind of the only reason to pit at this moment, unless you're bringing it into the garage as well. But we'll have to see what happens. As I see Corey, is Corey gonna line up a move here onto Garcia? Garcia going really defensive, gonna compromise his run due to the chicane, which is gonna allow Corey to take the optimal line, maybe get a little overspeed here. Going into the hairpin, Corey is here. Is Corey gonna make the dive? He's lining it up. Ooh, it's gonna be close, it's gonna be tight. They both go a little deep. Corey side by side right now with Garcia going into this last turn. It looks like Garcia has the better line. Corey is going for the switchback. Unable to make it work though as he gets into the grass a little bit. Oh, Corey unfortunately not able to make the move work and now has to sit there again probably for this next lap, hoping that he can make the situation repeat itself right there. But I'm going to hop on to Doug Lee again, who is hot on the back of Nico. Actually, let's take a look from the wing here. I know that GB3 really liked this camera in the D3 chat after the Coda race. I don't blame him. It's a good one to see what the car behind is doing, especially in the mirrors. Just kind of showing you like, all right, are they gonna dive out? Like, makes you think as the spectator, like, are they gonna do it? Now they're playing head games with you as well.
Exactly.
But Doug unable to make anything really work. Looks like they are coming up to a blue flag at the moment too. That might play a little bit of a factor into their fight, just depending on when that blue flag lets them by. Tough to really let anybody by until you get to, I believe that's turn 8 or 9 there when you come across the hill. Double check that I have that right. Yeah, turn 8, coming into the Stanley Straight.
Sorry, so watching Sircone and Garcia, and they almost came together there at the exit of the last corner as Sircone got a little bit squirrely. Front of his car almost ended up in the door of Garcia.
Oof.
Would have been a rude awakening there.
Glad that nothing came from that, and they are off still driving. Survived. Looks like Nico is still stuck behind this blue flag. Let's see if the blue flag takes that inside line, lifts off a little bit, allowing, oh boy, Sticks right on the racing line in front of Doug. Doug probably not too happy about that, considering that he was in the fight there for P6. And let's see if the blue flag will let them by here. That's heartbreaking in a
And we
fight.
see I'm sorry, on board with Garcia, there's a Mercedes off track somewhere. That would be Martin Riggs, unfortunately. Not sure what happened there, but he's sitting in the grass in between, or like right in front of the chicane. So.
Well, Nico going into the pits. I know I just jumped on the board with your fight that you're watching. I'll give a little outside view of it. Little update on the leaders. Jeffries is now 3.3 seconds, oh my gosh, ahead of Laren. Laren is ahead of Krocek by 6.6, and Fredrickson is right on the tail of Krocek, 0.6 behind. Down in 5th is Speed, 7 seconds back. Lee, 2.4 from Speed. Nico obviously diving into the pits here just recently, so that has allowed Doug to have clean air and continue on their way. Looks like Nico came out in P13 and is in a fight right now. It looks like Felipe is right there, and Neil Sutherland. Remember, Neil Sutherland pitted very early on, hoping to bide their time and get through this field quickly.
Yeah, and Sutherland and his whole train is slowly but surely catching up to Sircone and Garcia right now. And Garcia is about 11.5 seconds behind Santos in 8th place. Sircone pretty much pushing Garcia through the chicane right then. Very little space between the two, but it ended up making it work. Very safe through there. Got a little bit swirly on the exit, fell back a little bit, but right back on his behind coming through this first hairpin. Right on his behind. So,
So
don't count him out yet, people.
Felipe R118 going a little wide there. Penultimate turn, first hairpin. Nico trying to capitalize, unable to, and has to slot right back in. As I see Anderson has a yellow flag. What happened here? Go back 15, maybe gone a little too deep or got a nice little touch from behind. Let's find out. Goes in a little too hot and straight on. And hits the wall, unfortunately. That looked like a heavy hit on the front left there. Hopefully no suspension damage for him. But gonna jump back on to the Garcia Corey fight that you're on. Just give a little look-see from outside and see where they're at. Is that Fredrickson right in front of them too? Or is that
yes, it is. There's a new vehicle right in front.
like all of a sudden I was like,
come out of the pits.
yeah, it just I saw a new car and I was like, oh, is that a blue flag? No, that is a actual car in this fight as well. So that's another layer to this fight, which is going to be frustrating to see for the cars that are trying to fight behind Carl here. Carl looked like he got a little out of shape there, and Garcia trying to jump in. But I'll let you stay on board with this fight, as it looks like Corey just showing up there.
Corey ran it right into the back end of Garcia there, giving him a little flash. I'm not sure if that was a get out of my way or I am sorry flash. It's one of the two though. But Sircone backing off from Garcia a little bit after that little tap there between the two. Luckily it didn't seem to affect either one of them too bad.
Yeah, maybe it was. It could be one of those flashes of, "Hey, I'm making a move." But
It happened afterwards though.
Yeah.
It's a little bit late there if that's what it was.
Probably. But it looks like Corey is still on the tail of Garcia there. Nico Suave hot on the tail of Felipe here. Liking the wing cam tonight, especially for a track like this. You really get to see that with these fast, high-speed down, high fast speed corners that you need downforce for. It's really one line, and you get to see how close these cars really get to each other without making contact.
It's impressive, isn't it?
Oh, it's impressive because I know I am in my car pulling a Code Brown anytime I get way too close to a car that I feel uncomfortably close to, especially in a corner, a little puckered up there.
Yeah, this is one of those tracks where that happens pretty much every single corner, as we see Garcia and Zarco. Whoa! That was... Whoa! Garcia able to continue on the way, but it looks like Zarcone misjudged the acceleration of that Ferrari, just kind of went straight into that door of Garcia. I'm going to take a look at this. That's exactly what happened. A little bit too early on the power, understeered right into Garcia. Zarcone's going to lose out 3 spots as he was able to flip it around and keep going, but Garcia did lose some time there to Sutherland, as Sutherland is now less than 1 second behind, and Garcia is 4 seconds from Fredrickson now. So one battle ended, and he is instantly into another one.
Well, it could also be that we are within that 10-minute mark, so people are going to get a little bit more aggressive with this final 10 minutes, especially not having pit as well in those fights, so trying to get the move done before pits, but maybe doing the undercut or overcut is going to be better for these drivers. Just if they feel like they're faster, they can get that clean air, then let them go. But it looks like Doug Lee, who is fighting his way back, is in the pits, kind of taking that advice of, hey, there's 10 minutes left, let's just calm down a little bit, reset, push for the last 10 minutes, as I'm on board with the Suave fight, and it looks like the Garcia Sutherland fight that you're following is happening right in front of this group as well. So, Howard pulls out to the pits. It has Garcia, so that frees Sutherland up a little bit, but Suave is hot on the back of Felipe still here. 8 minutes.
So what happened with Sutherland? Sorry, what happened with the Sutherland-Garcia fight is we saw Garcia was coming into the pits this lap. He just kind of moved out of the way for Sutherland to let him get past. No use in wasting your tires and holding someone else up when they can catch someone, right?
Yeah. Hence, I also had a disconnect. My race control is a little goofy. I can't really see who has had the biggest winner and biggest loser so far.
Well, let me take a look-see. So the biggest winner is going to actually be Williams, who is, I just lost his position. There he is. He's up in 14th place right now. He started 30th on the grid, so 16th spot gain for that. Biggest loser, unfortunately, is going to be Ethan Martin, who started 10th, down P30, had an absolutely awful race this time around.
Yeah, a little unfortunate. Got caught up in an incident early, then ended up getting a stop go 30, and that really was the momentum killer, I feel like, for that driver.
I think so, yes. Looking down the grid right now, we've got Lloyd and Farrell in a fight, and Garcia and Spaghetti in front of them. So nice four-way battle here forming in the last 7.5 minutes of this race.
Yeah, especially considering that the leaders really spaced out. Jeffries has pulled a 6-second gap. Laren is sitting around 6-second gap to Krocek, and then Speed is back from Krocek about 10 seconds. And Air sitting about 9 seconds back from Speed. So that top 5 has really created some space, and like I said, when Coach made that move to take the lead, it seems like it's Coach's race to lose at this point. So really needs to nail this pit stop that he has coming up and not make any mistakes in this last 6 minutes here. Starting to think about it, who would you call your driver of the day at the moment, or your rubber chicken award winner?
My rubber chicken award winner. Honestly, as amazing as Williams has done getting up into P14, I'm kind of thinking Santos, who started 18th after the pits in the lap, currently, I believe after the pits, is currently 5th place.
Santos has still needs to pit. Air.
All right, never mind.
We'll see. Oh, Johnny Air, no, comes out of the pits for his pit stop and has a drive-through.
No.
Maybe came in a little too hot, like 1 or 2 miles per hour over, and just that's a killer this late in the game. But looks like Williams and Air are actually in a fight, really on top of each other. Looks like Williams actually got the better of Air as they were coming out of the pit lane. Because Air is actually sitting in P14 at the moment. I know the timer on the left side of your screen has not updated. But I am telling you the truth that Air is actually 14.
Yeah, unfortunately for Johnny Air, is now the drive-through with 5 minutes left. That's not what you want to see.
Yeah, that's gut-wrenching, especially as a competitor, seeing that it's tough to see. Because you're like, oh man, I was looking forward to that fight, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But Felipe is in the pits with his McLaren. Let's see where he is going to come out. I know he's been in a lot of fights today with a lot of different drivers. Fredericks sitting in P6, and the 5 drivers ahead of him have not pitted. So that would be Jeffries, Laren, Krocek, Speed, and Santos. So.
Oh. And now it's my turn to have some connection issues as everybody is going perpendicular to the track. Still moving.
Oh, you're having some internet issues. I hear it in your voice. You're lagging a little bit. Felipe comes out into P17, right behind Steckham right there. And
you able to hear me?
Yes, I am. Now you're back. Welcome back.
I am back from the dead. This time it's my turn, except I didn't completely lose my internet.
Hey, Krocek
Johnny
and
Air did come out. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's you.
Air did come out of the pits after his drive-through down in P19 now.
Krocek, Speed, and Santos, all 3 in the pits on the same lap. Let's see where Santos is going to come out. Speed is on the move, currently P6. It's going to be a tight one right there. We got Neil coming up to the back of him right there. Be close. Santos coming out of the pits at the moment, sitting P11 with Williams on the straight right there. That's going to move him down to P12. So Santos, after the pit stops, down to P12. Where did Neil start? Neil Sutherland.
Neil started in position 13, so up 6 spots.
I honestly think Neil has a strong case for driver of the day / rubber chicken award just because of that early pit call. And Corey Sircone has a drive-through.
Oh, it's just never ending.
I know. But what were you saying?
Well, that's going to be great for Roger to see, because Roger's not going to get a free spot without even having to overtake Sircone. And that's going to put Williams in the top 10.
Jeffries in the pits, coming out now. Laren coming in at the same lap. And looks like it's going to be tight between Krocek and Laren if Krocek can get on the gas here. Down 6 seconds, so not as close as I thought it was. 2:30
already in the first quarter.
GB3 having a moment. This Mercedes is deadly here tonight, going onto that Stanley straight. Got a little loose and the car spun around on him. That's unfortunate. Maybe testing didn't go their way in the preseason. I remember they were testing a lot of different cars and they decided the Mercedes was it. But maybe the Mercedes is not agreeing with them now. we'll see if they stick with it next season or not. But as I was saying though, Neil would be a strong pick for me, being driver of the day. I know we were talking about that, and then you got a little robotic on me with your internet, if you're still having that issue.
Yeah. Oh, I am. Oh, there it is. Oh, I haven't. Is
Good
it back
job.
now?
You're in and out. But I'm gonna follow a
You
different.
hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Okay, good.
Nope. All right. But what were you saying about Neil?
Neil Sutherland, I kind of agree with you. Pit stop is about to get another take here. Oh, maybe not. Oh, I can't tell. Oh, everything's dying.
Yeah, I've
All
noticed
right,
in the
we're
pit.
back, but he is still fighting. He is still fighting with speed right now. Very, very close with 20 seconds left on the clock. He's got one last lap to get himself up to P6.
Another fight happening is Home and Felipe. Felipe might make a move here. Unfortunately, will not. Just going to slot back in as Akara in the background making a huge dive. Garcia really coming from nowhere to on the diffuser of Johnny Air. That was a huge, brave move there from Garcia to really get on the rear end of there, but unfortunately that last corner having a little bit of wheel spin, dropping back from that fight. But seeing Jeffries now in this last sector, the last couple turns, he's in the penultimate turn and going to start coming up to the line. A blue flag there actually on screen, pulling off the road. I believe that's Felipe at car 118 pulling off, let the other cars go by to not hinder them in their fight. But there it is. That is the coach, the GOAT, Michael Jeffries, coming across the line in P1, followed by Laren in P2, and P1 for the silver class. Prochek will take P3 and P2 in the silver split. Carl Frederick then P4 and P2 in the gold class, followed closely by Lee, who had a great recovery race right there. And Speed, followed very closely by Sutherland, Suave, P8, Rogers for P9, and moment Williams for P10. That will round out your top 10 right there.
Meanwhile, further back down the grid, we got Seckham and Almeida. Seckham had a really great run. Almeida with amazing positioning on the exit managed to block off Seckham's run. So it looks like, unless there's a really big mess up here, Almeida is going to stay ahead.
Yeah, it's tough coming off that last corner, really trying to get that drag race going. It just really depends on who has the better traction and doesn't force the wheel spin, which is tough because you're kind of rotating the car so much to get the car to settle down enough for you. But there it is. That is your race. Again,
We actually have a 30-second penalty for P23.
I see that.
Which is spaghetti.
Again, Jeffries, Laren, Krotrek, Fredrickson, and Lee, top 5 right there. But again, good race from all the drivers. I will let you message all of them and start getting people ready for interviews as I get to the intermissions.
All right.
You're gonna have to remind me of who won again. So P1
Jeffries was
the
gold,
coach, the GOAT.
and then Laren would have been silver, and then I think we agreed on Neil Sutherland for driver of the day. Another
Yes,
person that I will mention had a fantastic recovery race was Doug Lee. You remember, was fighting for P3 at one point, had spin, and then went down to P9. They fought back and finished P5, so I want to commend them on that. It's always tough coming back from an incident like that.
True, and another honorable mention or shout out should go to definitely Williams, who started on the grid P30. I believe he ended up 14th or 13th.
That's always nice when you have a good leap like that during the night.
It feels good.
Yes, it really does. You're sitting there, and you're like, you're pumping yourself up, like, oh my god, I did it. So, just waiting to see if the drivers start filling out in the race chat, so we can start pulling them up here. Slowly but surely, they'll start getting in, start the interview process. It'd be nice to get the coach up here. Want to see how he's gonna a race win.
If they end up joining or
True.
being available for interviews.
It looks like Neil gave a nice little thumbs up, so we can get Neil once he gets
That is
in.
true. I do not see. Oh, there's Neil in the D3, D4 chat. I will go ahead and move them up to the.
Let's get Neil in here first, obviously, since he is
All right.
already here.
Mr. Neil Sutherland, the winner of the Rubber Chicken Award today. Congratulations on that.
Hey, thanks, John. What's the Rubber Chicken Award?
Driver of the day, pretty much, but it's cooler. So everyone really fights for Rubber Chicken Award in D3. It's not for the win, it's for the Rubber Chicken Award.
Love it. I'll take the win.
It's the best award in SRA, other than having to do a shoey, in our opinion.
Exactly.
I agree.
But the reason why we saw you had a great strategy call early on. I was in my head, I was going, is it the right call, especially considering you caught up to traffic so early on? But it really did shine through for you today. What were you seeing out there that really made you make that decision to pit early, and as early as you did?
Yeah, it's awesome going on Wednesday because you get to watch the races on Tuesday nights and kind of analyze the strategy. So I saw that a couple drivers had moved up like 14 spots by pitting early, and the pit delta is just long enough to get you like 5 to 10 seconds behind the back of the pack. And luckily, I practiced all of my offline passing brake markers because a lot of the drivers that I was approaching that hadn't pit yet some of them were actually defending, which I was surprised by. But it was really fun to have to work through them really quickly and not lose a bunch of time. And yeah, I guess ultimately I was able to do low 28s when everyone else was doing high 28s or so battling. And yeah, the strategy paid off tonight, I'd say.
Yeah, it was fantastic watching you kind of cut through the grid. And I'm guessing that you probably watched your old teammate, Jess Osborne, with maybe some of his strategy calls last night, and that's what helped make your decision. So good to see that.
For sure. It was I have it right here on my spreadsheet. Jess Osborne gained 7, Sweeney gained 11, and Sadat was the big winner with 12. Those two really gained a lot.
Well, you gained quite a few as well. I believe you started 13th into P7, so that's 6 for you. Add that one to the spreadsheet for the next time we race here. That's for sure.
Oh, right on. And it's so competitive here. I mean, to move up 6 spots from 13th to 7th is a lot of hard work on track. So I was really glad to be able to do it in the pits tonight.
Well, it was a really impressive outing with what we saw as well. Didn't
Yeah,
really get
thank you very
into any
much.
incidents, which was very nice. Very nice, clean race is probably what actually got you probably a couple spots out of that 6 for sure. So.
Yep, no doubt. That and pit stop. I made a mistake on Monday's practice race on my pit stop. I overshot the box, so I hit the drills and made sure to nail my pit stop today, and I think it really paid off.
Well, that's good. I know Doug always harps on us saying pit lane execution will win races, or in this case, move you up quite a bit in the grid.
No doubt. You certainly can't afford to lose 2 seconds. We'll say that much. Like the standard's so high on track that you really cannot afford to give up 2 seconds in the pits.
2
So
seconds could be 1 spot, or it could be 5.
no doubt.
It is getting spicy as the seasons go on. More and more drivers are getting closer and closer in time. So,
Yep. Yeah, and I just want to take a minute to thank you both and the rest of the SRA team. This league is awesome, and I don't know how you manage 200 plus drivers there so seamlessly, but thumbs up to the whole team, and thank you for everyone, all that you guys do.
we appreciate that, and we always give our nice little shout outs at the end of the night to the admin staff as well, because, like you said, it's tough wrangling 200 personalities.
It
Yep.
really is.
Yeah, and getting to drive with 30 other drivers that are so respectful and such the similar pace, just amazing. So yeah, thanks again.
Yeah.
Well, you have a great night, Neil, and an amazing race.
Right on. Thank you both.
Well, I see
All right.
Eric.
Yes, I never did get a response from either one of them, but they are both in a channel right now, I believe, or at least one of them is.
Yeah, I'll look for coach. I don't see coach. I see Neil in there at least.
I'll go ahead and bring Eric out to the cooldown.
I feel like you're good to bring him up. Let's get his inputs on tonight as the silver winner.
Eric Laren, the round 3 silver winner. Congratulations. I believe it's P2 as well.
Yeah.
Believe you
So
started.
how was?
Sorry about that, John. I
No
believe you
worries.
started on pole and you had a wide beamer in your rearview mirror for literally 3/4 of the race. How was it seeing that, and then unfortunately having the beamer go by, but overall winning the
Yeah.
silver split though?
I mean, I had quite a lot of pressure after the race. I did get 2 warnings in the first 10 minutes, so I was
Oh boy.
more cautious going to the chicane. So I finally did a mistake in the chicane, so I had to lift a bit, and I took the opportunity to make the pass. And I mean, I was quite relieved, to be honest, to be second, because now I could just bring it home and not worry about what was in my mirrors.
Yeah,
Dude,
because
this guy's smart.
yeah, you guys did build up quite a lead early on. I think you were both at one point like 4 or 5 seconds ahead of the battle from P3 while you guys were still fighting. So that's impressive that you were able to still pull a gap while in a fight.
Yeah, I mean, I think I had good pace, but he just had way better. I mean, to follow that closely in Donington, yeah, it shows how good he was. I mean, as soon as he was ahead, he just pulled a massive gap. I think it was 8 seconds.
I believe it ended roughly 6 or 7.
Yeah, I mean, he was just better.
Move the coach up, right?
Yeah.
Well, John,
But
what
yeah,
you?
still a great result. I'm really happy.
Yeah,
Didn't expect to get pole.
hey,
Yeah,
sometimes
and
it's
you
when you
got
least
it.
expect it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got it by, I believe it was less than 1/10 as well. So with that gold qualifying where you just kind of watching Michael Jeffries and just going, oh no, 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 no.
Yeah, I did my PB in that quali, and I mean, there's a lot of fast guy in D3, so I wasn't expecting to get that.
Well, that was a very impressive outing for you today, and we hope to see you do a couple more this season for sure.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a great night.
See you soon.
Well, I'm unfortunately not seeing the coach in chat.
Nor am I. So it's going to appear that we were not able to get him into an interview today. Potentially when he either wins or gets a rubber chicken award at some point this season.
Don't worry, when I give him an update to fantasy, I will yell at him too. Be like, Coach, you didn't get the interview. We wanted to do it. I'll yell at him then. Well, but in that note, since we don't have the coach, do you have any closing remarks that you want to get out tonight?
I hope we don't have any more issues next week. It was a great race though for us today. So yeah. I completely lost track with where I was going. That sentence about halfway through, so I apologize, but yeah.
Well, I'll go through my typical spiel plus add on a little bit at the end. Thank you to all the admins for all you do. Kind of like Neil said, you have to wrangle. In this now we have what 1,700 people in the Discord. We got to manage
I
all
think
of us. Stewards, we come in there and we'll be like, hey, like what's going on? So appreciate you guys doing all the volunteer work that you do. And then the sponsors that you see on top, always helping us continue growing the league. And then a huge thank you to our SRA sponsors and title sponsors for supporting us here at SRA, as well as support from Documize, a modern business solution for product management. Go to documize.com to learn more today. Support from Retro Saga, a North American-based gaming company that provides accessories to your favorite classic systems. Enhance your retro gaming experience today at retrosaga.ca. A big thank you to our affiliates, Track Racer. Experience redefined gaming with Track Racer's high-quality sim rigs and accessories. Use code SRATE at checkout to support us. Armamentario, a toolbox for ACC that will enhance your chance to win. Enjoy a fully customizable enhanced HUD to change the way you experience ACC. And lastly, Go Setups. Premium esports setups for everyone. Use our affiliate link on our Discord and take your drive to the next level. And all these are found in our Discord along with on our website, sra.gg. Another thing, too, I want to add is, again, I apologize for tonight. I know not having a lot of control over internet going out, but I still feel bad not being able to bring the full action to you guys. And then also with my random disconnects. I look forward to seeing you guys race next week while we, like we said, always say, add that little bit of spice while you guys bring all of the action on track. But with that,
exactly.
we want to thank you and have a good night. We will see you for round 4 in Germany at the Nürburgring.
Woohoo!